Howdy folks, my name is Darren from RC Scale Models, and today we have a brand new kit. This one's from 1/48 scale, Avro Lancaster B Mark 1. It's from HK Models. Let's take a look at what we get in the box. It's a large box, it's brand new tooled for 2021. It's finally here. We have some CAD work. It's long anticipated kit. It's been a while since we've had a 1/48 Lancaster. The last one was released and it was done by Mk.I, and that kit's over 50 years old now, so it is nice to get a new tooled 48 Lancaster. It is their series, so no doubt they'll probably be doing a dam buster one at some point. Kit number is 01F005. Two marking schemes you get within the kit. It's from the 106 Squadron, Royal Air Force, December 1942, and then we have another one from 467 Squadron, which is RAAF, which is Royal Australian Air Force, I believe, May 1944. But it's still based in the UK, but it's Australian pilots, I think. Pretty cool. So that's what we get inside the box. It's a large box. It's a top opening box. It's quite sturdy. I do like their box from HK Models. One large worksheet, colour callouts, so we'll go through that. You get these clear, it's nicely done in a nice piece of card protection. Wings, you can get a rough idea what the wings are going to be like because they're already bagged separately. There's one half of the fuselage, second half, and then we have multiple sprues, parts, propellers, bombs, landing gear segments, engine nacelles, wings, large decal sheets and photo etch, and then you do get a nice poster which you could end up wanting to print. You could stick up on your wall, which is a nice touch. So we'll take a little bit closer look at this now. We'll put this to one side. We will look at the worksheet. Nice glossy prints of the box art. You've got warning symbols, what to do, a little bit of history, which is nice. They are using AK colour, real colours for reference. That's probably what I might actually end up using. So we start off with the cockpit. We have the pilot seat. There's only one seat for the pilot. The co-pilot and stuff sits at the back, and there's a radio operator. So two halves of the seat, the main seat. We do get some photo etch seat belts. I don't think they would have had shoulder harnesses. I believe it just would have been a lap belt. I think that piece might actually be wrong. Could be wrong. Check your references. However, the Lancaster that flies today for the Royal Air Force Memorial flight, that is a late war Lancaster, so there's a lot of different variances. This is early war, so there is a lot of differences between that. So try not to use that reference because it's going to be different. It's different in the Lancaster. Once you've done the seat, you've got the cockpit floor, and it's all the detail parts going into the seat, flight stick, radio operator equipment. Again, you've got lap belts going in. The colour called out for inside the Lancaster is a cross between black, or night as they call it, RAF night, and interior green. The leather parts are not leather brown, they're called out for leather dark green. Like I say, if you look in the reference material I have for the Lancaster that flies today, they're using black leather, not green. So again, you're going to have to check your references to make sure everything's correct. Bombay floor on the inside, and then you attach all the detail parts. You've got all the cockpit detail going in, fuel tanks, ammo drums. I think these are possibly are. I think these are extra ammo. We have more detail parts going in. This is a sidewall console which has oxygen bottle tanks. Another sidewall here. I think it's got radio equipment attached to it, and a foldable seat. The front of the Lancaster, I think, is where the bombardier hangs out. He does have a machine gun, I believe. Inside the fuselage halves have detail parts going in, windows, doors. Reverse side is pretty much the same process. We do get optional gun sights here, I think. Once that's all built up, you can sandwich it all together. Then you're working on your turrets. This is the top turret that sits at the top here. This is the other turret. This is the tail rear turret. Canopy going in. You've got the main canopy, and then you've got different windows. We have some more seats. Your main tails are 2 halves, and your tail fins. Unfortunately, the flaps are moulded in. Unfortunately, you can't pose them unless you cut them and do a little bit of scratch building. One thing I do like about HK models, they've got the correction on the bombs. In the Tamir, they messed it up. They had 4 and 1 and 4. It's actually 3, 1, 3. The layout they've got here is correct. The main bomb, I think, is like a 1,000-pounder, which is a cylinder one. These are like 500-pounders, I believe. Your rear tail going in, and your landing lights, or whatever those lights are for, the coloured ones. Bombay comes as 1/2. It comes 1/2. You've got to take these tabs off if you're having the bomb bay closed, but if you're having the bomb bay closed, you don't need to put the weapons in because you're not going to see them anyway. Bomb bay open. These are the ends of the bomb bay for the actuator arms. Turn your attention to the nose. There's 2 types of nose. We have this structural part inside here, probably like an armour plate. Front gunner going in, canopy going in, the middle turret and the rear turret. Again, the bomb bay doors I wouldn't stick in at that time. All these fine detail pitot tubes I'd leave to the end. The bomber doors I'd leave to the end. It'd be the last few things you stick on. Tails going on, you could do that. You could stick this piece on as well. These fine pitot tubes again, I would leave them to the end. When you're working on the engines, you do get, I believe, 4 engines, complete engines, which is nice built up detail. A little bit of wiring, you can bring it out nicely. The early propeller system is pointy. The late one is more rounded, which you see on the Tamir one. They have both options, but the kit's slightly not 100% perfect, but it is good enough. Landing gear, 2 halves, 2 wheels, and all the structural. You can build it separately and drop it in later, which is a nice touch. I like it being done like that. Engine going in, firewall, engine nacelles, 2 halves, cowlings going in for the radiator system. This is the other side of the engine nacelles, which houses the landing gear as well. 2 wings going together. You can have this flap open or closed, which is a nice touch on this one. Engine nacelles going in, landing gear, propeller system all going in. But again, propellers system I'll put in pretty much towards the end. Landing gear will be painted and dropped in. Landing gear doors closed, but I'm going to have mine open. Leading edge slats open or closed. And then it's repeating the process on the other side, so you've got left and right obviously. Once this is all built up, you get these funny little square tabs. They sit on the leading edge of the wings. Don't know what they're for. But a nice thing with this system for AK, Hong Kong models, is they have this lock-in system for the wings, just like the B-17. So it's good for transport if you're taking your kits to model shows. And then you have a built-up model. It's all CAD work, obviously, but it shows you what it can build like. And then we have all parts, your sprue map, body, wings, engine nacelles, and the back of the aircraft. Main fuselage halves inside cockpit area. This is the bombers area, bombs, landing gear. There's the photo etch, and this is the clear. There's a print for the decals. I think these are 1:1 scale. So if you wanted to make your own masks, you can do it by sticking tape over it and then I suppose drawing them out. These are, like I say, 1:1. And then your paint options. There's a paint option here, is both the same aircraft. It's obviously flipped both sides. Typical RAF colours, which is RAF dark green, RAF earth, and night, or black as they call it. So you've got your colours down there, AK, Tamir, and guns. If you're using Tamir to make up the RAF brown, you're going to have to mix up 4 different colours to make the RAF brown. But guns and AK have got direct colours. I have all 3 of those, so I could use any of those colours because I have all 3 of those manufacturers. Same colours but different markings. Stencil data, not a lot of stencil data. You have these stripes on the wings and a couple of nose steps and like that kind of stuff, which is nicely done. This is on the underside. And the colour callouts, again, keys for basic colours. Then you've got AK, Tamir, and guns. So where shall we start? We shall start. You're going to want to start with the body. They come in these nice sleeves. So here is the whole entire body. You have these little ejector pins at the back, nicely detailed. So this is what you get for internal detail. It's very, very nicely done, all ribbon. I can't see a single ejector pin hardly on the inside. You're not going to see an awful lot, but it's a nice touch. You do have HK model symbol there you might have to take care of, but other than that it's lovely. On the outside, don't know how well you can see this on camera, but it's completely covered in rivets. This is that lock-in system for the wings, like the B-17. Absolute superb fine detail of rivets all the way across. Even the rivets, I don't know how well you can see this, come on, focus camera. The rivets even wrap all the way to the leading edge, they don't just fade off. As for the fuselage half, it is, without the glass nose on there, it's 42 centimetres without the glass. So with the glass, you're probably looking at about 43, 44 centimetres. This is the other side. It's going to be pretty much the same, not much difference in it. So again, superb detail. And then the same on the inside ribbon. There is a little bit difference on this side because we do have a side console going on here, but it should come out nicely. We do have these 2 pieces in this bag that look like scoops for the engines. So in this bag we have engine nacelles. Nicely done. This is the structural for the landing gear area. We'll probably see a little bit of that. Here are landing gear doors, again covered in rivets. Sorry about that, guys. Right, where were we? We are back with these engine nacelles. Again, nicely done, rivets all over. These are fine panel lines with rivets. These are the two main engine nacelles, and these ones here are with the landing gear segments. As I say, back with the landing gear doors on the inside. Absolutely smooth, no ejector pins, nicely done. There are ejector pins on these side engine nacelles, but these are closed up so you're not going to see them anyway. There are a couple of ejector pins on these ones. I don't think you're going to see them anyway. This one contains the wings at the back of the aircraft. Again, the way they've done this as complete structural. There are ejector pins, but you're not going to see any of these. The main wings at the back, again, these are moulded as one piece, so no seam lines to take care of. Be nicely done, but again, unfortunately, these leading edge flaps are moulded in. Back of the aircraft, more wing segments, again nicely detailed. This is the landing gear segments in this bag. We have two sprues identical, so it's going to be left and right. So we have exhaust covers, radiator system. Main landing gear is quite chunky on this kit, so it needs to hold the kit up, especially if you're having it displayed on the ground. More than that, structural parts. There is the engine detail. It's going to be the Merlin Rolls-Royce engine, is it? Merlin engines. Exhaust pieces, they're not hollowed out unfortunately, so you may want to drill them out. Be quite tricky because they're quite fine, but no doubt there'll probably be resin stuff out there, and resin engines probably at some point. But I don't think you would need them. These look nicely done. These pieces are part of the propeller system. Here is the wheels. Weight on wheels, unfortunately they're too hard, but it should be okay. Here's the nose cones, and in the back of the nose cones here. This looks like the top of the engine block, and the bottom turbos, or is that superchargers? Could be superchargers for the engine. And this bag contains bombs. Man, their bags are tricky to get out of, and their glue is really strong on their bags. So we have these two pieces. They are come separately because they are for your bombs. So we have two of these. These are your main bombs. Two of these to make up the three-bladed propeller, so you have obviously 4, but 2 of these. And this is that, I believe, the 500 pounder. Comes with 2 halves, should go together nicely. So that's the bombs. We have cockpit internals and fine detail parts in this one. So here is your Bombay door, or Bombay, sorry. Again, nicely done. Can't see any ejector pins, but this is the inside, so your bombs will be attached to here. This is the inside of the floor. Unfortunately, there is some ejector pins you may have to take care of, but hopefully a lot of it should be covered up with internals. Here is that structural firewall near the front. We have the front of the engine scoops. Not sure what these were. These are leading edge for the flaps. That's what you get for a console. I can't remember on the decals, which I will show you near the end if there is a decal. Instrument panels, no doubt Edward will do their photo etch stuff for this. This is internals as well. I think this is the firewalls for the engines. We have these pieces as well, internal. This, it looks like it's all slide moulded the way they've done it. We have these pieces. These are leading edge flaps, I think. Again, no ejector pins. Nicely done. Here is your main detail parts. Again, this is a lot of cockpit. This is the cockpit floor and the gunner operator section, I think. We have a side console with oxygen fuel tanks on it. This is the tail wheel, which is obviously the aircraft, the tail dragger. More side consoles, more bulkheads and stuff. This is a side console. This is the this piece here is the front of the aircraft where the bombardier sits, I believe. We have another radio set equipment, pipes and detail parts. Down here, slide moulded by the looks of things, where they've done this, is radio equipment. There's nothing on the other side I can see, but again, nicely done. In here we have the bomb doors and detail parts for the turrets and stuff. So here is the bomb doors. They come as separate halves. Again, just going to focus. Rivets all over, really sharp and crisp. One thing I do notice though, sadly, they should have done these extra pins, but there is ejector pins on the inside of bomb doors, which they did that with the B-17, and it just seems like they just rushed these pieces because you've got nasty ejector pins on the ends. And there is a couple of shallow ones in the middle, right there. Right here, which is a shame. We have detail parts here. Here's the pilot seat. This is part of the turret. We have bulkheads. This is part of the turret assembly. This is part of the rack that houses the machine guns. Here are the machine guns. Again, they're not hollowed out, but somewhere in my aftermarket stash I do have metal barrels, so I might swap them out. So nicely done. There's a lot of fine detail parts on this. This one contains a hell of a lot of pitot tubes, I've noticed, and stuff, so be super careful taking these off the sprue without them snapping on you. Almost coming to the end, we have the two wings, left and right. It's nice that they've done them in one bag, and it gives you a rough idea how big the wings are and what the fit's like. Inside, you see here, you do have these large tabs that helps it all lock into place. Make sure when you put these together, like the B17, these are firmly pressed into place. Otherwise, you can end up with your wings may not fit in properly, and then people start moaning the kit's unbuildable, like the B17. They're saying it's unbuildable when it clearly isn't. It can be built nicely, just a matter of making sure everything fits properly in the first place. There you go, you can start to hear the snap of them tabs locking into place. Little bit of a clamp there and there, should hold it into place nicely, but again, superb detail all over, rivets. This mixture of raised here, obviously these are, but the rest of it's all recessed. Again, unfortunately, there are some ejector pins on it inside here you're going to have to take care of. I wish they wouldn't have stuck them on there. Sorry about that. Putting them in there, I wish they stuck them inside here. Outside, detail, superb. So over here we have the clear parts. I'm not going to get this out of the bag, so I don't want to get these scratched up. But they look really superb and nice and crisp and clean. Like I say, they're in this protective bag, which is a nice touch. As for the markings, I will show you these. Not sure who does their decals, I think they do them in-house. So here is the fellow etch fret. No, my mistaken, they're printed by Calligraph, so you know they're going to go down nicely. You're going to have no issue with these. I believe Calligraph, in my opinion, are the best in the world. I absolutely like Calligraph decals. And then we have this large one as well, which has stencil data. Here, these are leading edge for the wings, and then your giant roundels. And then the two roundels on the side and the parts on the tail. Absolutely beautiful. There is a decal for your cockpit. I'll probably use a decal on this and do it straight out of the box. I'm not going to detail this up much. The only probably aftermarket I probably will swap out for this were the metal barrels, but other than that I'll probably do this straight out of the box. So there you are, my friends. There's another kit from HK Models. Is the brand new 1/48 scale Avro Lancaster B Mark 1. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.